Dallas in here. Forget them Cowboys. But we see y'all in here. Yeah, man. We're just gonna rock out with y'all tonight. You know, for just a little bit, man. You know, every Friday night, 8 p.m. Uncensored Truth podcast. Just, you know, I mean, go from there, man. But I can't wait to get to this future segment, though, Sam, man.
Let's start it first.
Let's do it.
Let's start that first. Let's get that right off the jump,
man. Let's play this audio, man. This is a short audio from Andre 3 Stacks. And when you showed me this little clip right here, it took me back as well in my brain to when we first got started, sitting in the back of your crib, talking about Future and hip hop. So I'm gonna play this, just a small clip right here. Then we're gonna talk about this one, man. So we're gonna start off with this one right here. Let's go. This is Andre 3 Stacks.
Son, like we Future fanatics, man, and we sit and we listen to it, and I said, man, Future makes the most negative inspirational music ever. Future makes the most negative inspirational music ever.
Now, that's Andre, you know, 3000. Now, he went on to say the latter. He said something else to add, you know, to that. You know what I'm saying? What else did Andre 3000 say?
Just a power phrase. He was going to say, like, his music can have somebody dead in a week.
Okay.
Serious. Right. Now, that was probably the nicest, most humble, most disrespectful diss I've ever heard in my life. Coming from a real humble dude, Andre 3 Stacks, talking about how he and his son really respect and admire an Atlanta brother of theirs in Future, make some of the most inspirational negative music you ever hear. Now, we talked about it. We talked about it numerous times. One in particular, we talked about it when he came out with Molly Percocet a year and a half ago, probably sometime. And that really pissed us off, especially as men, fathers, when you have music, especially in that era, not even that era, but a couple years back, where Future was really hot and really pushing the wave, and everybody was listening to him. You really had to start asking yourself the question: what is the message and what is the agenda that he's pushing? Is he really authentic to what he's doing? And it seemed right around that wave, you start seeing some of the young rappers dropping like flies, lean, Molly, opiate use, fentanyl use. And we really said it was terrible what the hell was going on in that situation. What do you think was going on with Andre 3000? One of the greatest rappers of all time and one of the greatest groups of all time. Was he humbly dissing Future in your opinion?
Absolutely.
Talk about it.
Absolutely humbly, you know, dissing him. And in my estimation, man, when you really look at like artists like Future, this is nothing that you wouldn't want your kids listening to this. It should be like rated R, you know what I mean? This type of stuff, because the message that, and you got to remember, like you got little kids in the car, they might be 4 or 5. As soon as they're able to comprehend and start singing words, these radio stations are pounding these same songs in rotation. And whether they blank the words out or not, they find out these words and they begin to sing them. And that goes deep down into their mind, and they begin, you know, to want to act these things out. So it's just like, you know, for him to be perpetuating that onto the people, it's sick. He's not the only one. It's sick. And he needs all types of flame and venom for that. You know what I mean? Because just because you're making your money, it may seem innocent, but you gotta, you know, you're affecting, you know, a large demographic of people. And the reason why it affects us more is because we don't have the role models like other people to come in and they're looking up to a clown like Future, as opposed to a neighborhood doctor, a lawyer, or a football coach. They got to look up to this clown because we got to lack role models in our community. So it's a double whammy. Not saying that that's particularly Future's fault, but if you're adding on to something like that, encouraging people to use, you know what I mean, drugs, that's messed up. I mean, that's just what it is.
Why don't, okay, Future's music, people love it. I'm not a real big fan of it. I don't understand what the hell he's saying personally. I don't get it. Beats aren't enough for me. They just aren't. Like, I could work out to certain things, but I'm just on a different level when it comes to music. I need more than a beat. We seen him and his daughter wearing the slave mask. He had his daughter out there with the whole slave mask. We hear his lyrics, even though he writes his lyrics and we feel as though he has some control over his lyrics. Is he controlled by the industry? Is there someone out there, and this is conspiracy, someone out here controlling his narrative for the purpose of young, in particular, Black ears to listen to and go down a wrong path?
Well, people always have made the correlation, you know, between, you know, private prisons, a prison for profit. You know, it only makes sense. You know, it could be a connection. I don't have any proof, but I'm thinking, you know, just logically in the way that I kind of see it, putting things together with my analytical mind. You feed the people this negative music. You know what I mean? these people, you know, because they can't find legitimate work because they may have made a mistake, they got to go into the underworld. They get crunk. They keep going back. It's a revolving door, revolving cycle. They got to keep going back. And, you know, it's just a negative thing that continues to happen. And in the back end, you got the prison for profit, the phone calls, the commissary, you know, whatever, anything that you do that's attached to that is profit to that. So, yeah, you keep people coming back in. You have to pay for it. Now, on top of that, we talked about in our interview, the 13th Amendment and slavery, pretty much going back in, guys working for 35 cents, 45 cents an hour when they should be making for those type of contracted jobs $20, $30 an hour, but they're cutting on the cost and still got to pay for their stuff. And it's all around, you know, negative cycle. So Future gets paid on the back end. Brothers and sisters going in and out of prison, they feed people's pockets. I mean, it's a revolving door. So could it be? Definitely could be. Do we have any proof? No, but do we need proof at this point? I think that's enough right there to say, like, whether he has a Giletto, somebody with their hand in his back or not, he's a negative dude for the culture, period. And I'm glad that Andre 3000 called this brother out on this.
Well, I mean, we got a comment coming through. Shout out to Hennessy and Hip Hop who dropped the donation as we were coming through. I caught his comment or her comment, whoever this is. I'm sorry on that. Why are you calling Future a clown, man? Now, did you basically just elaborate on why Future's a clown in your opinion? Because you called him a clown. And I agree with you.
Right.
I definitely think he's a clown. I don't listen to his music. We went in on him. We brought the smoke when it came to Future, and we got a real great response to that because he's sending a terrible message to our youth.
He's the only one, but yeah.
And absolutely. Right. He's not the end all be all when it comes to it. It's a lot of people out here spreading nonsense, and we're not going to single him out of all the genre of people doing it. But it was just interesting that Andre 3 Stacks, one of the greatest rappers of all time, obviously, in my opinion, and I'm seeing top 5. I'm seeing Andre's corny throughout the comment section. Y'all getting it blazing in there. We appreciate that. But this was just our perspective, man. Future, he has influence, and there's no doubt about that. It would be good to see some growth in his music. And I think that's a lot of where Lil Wayne takes some criticism is where's the evolution at? We know you can spit. We know you're talented. We know you're one of the greatest lyricists of all time, but we want to understand that you're one of the greatest storytellers of all time. I mean, I don't know if that even matters to him, but I think that's where Jay-Z gets credit. He's consistently evolving, and Future's getting to that point now where people obviously understand and appreciate his greatness for what he does for his style of music and his culture. When are you going to evolve? I mean, and a lot of people, not to cut you off, oh God, are saying this is his best music to date. I don't want to sit here and throw false criticism to him. If you're a fan of his music and he is evolving, check me in the comment section and let me know, because I personally don't really listen to it. All I hear is bullshit.
Well, Simone or Simon Hunt put, but the message has always been terrible. So, and I get it. You know what I mean? A lot of the rappers got a lot of garbage that they spew, but you do have, you know, your rappers that you can kind of gravitate to that don't always dabble in the bullshit. That they give you good quality lyrics, uplifting lyrics. You know what I mean? And it seems like the industry, you know, for whatever reason, kind of keeps those guys suppressed. You can find them and all that, but they kind of blow up the buffoonery to other people, making strippers famous. Not this. I'm not, you know, I'm not trying to come at nobody, but it's just like, is that somebody to be revered, like a stripper? You know what I mean? Like we were just talking to the attorney, you know, black women be over sexualized. It's not like we see that all the time. We seen Lil' Kim, we seen Foxy Brown, we see Nicki Minaj shaking it and all that, and all that's cool. But where are the artists that are going to be known for their smarts, for the business, you know, sense, you know, what they're doing? Okay, like, I mean, that's fine. But it's, if you see, you got these women, instead of the women wanting to come out and be known for their lyrics and stuff, they want to just come out. Now you see a whole 20, 30 different Cardi B's, 20, 30 more Nicki Minaj's coming out with no substance to them whatsoever. They're just showing ass and titties. That's it.
I mean, well, that's also where the fame and the money is. And it's kind of, you got real lyricists out here, it's particular females that almost stray away from that, like you said, and try to jump on the Cardi and the Nicki wave. But do you see a difference in a resurgence in that 2019? Because we were talking about it toward the tail end of 2018, and we did a show. We didn't drop it, but we did a show like almost like a recap, so to speak. And we talked about, in particular, female MCs in the game. And we talked about the resurgence and how we got a lot of great lyricists out here, and a lot of the rhetoric and the futures and a lot of the sexism and things like that. It almost seems like people are getting tired of it, and they want to hear some real genuine music. So do you see that really resurging within the next couple of months? I mean, because we're in 2019 right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of good music out there. I'm just saying, you know, as far as the people that's pushed to the forefront, you know, that they're put up in this light as somebody to be, you know, respected. and your kids are singing these songs in their car and just ruining them, the songs that they're singing, the ones that they're pushing. That's all I'm saying. This is a fact. You know what I mean? It's not like we're singling out, you know, Future. We can go down a list of these people. What? It's our responsibility to make sure that our kids don't get wrapped up, you know, in that and listening to that type of music and wanting to emulate that. Because what you're going to have in your hands is, you know, a teenager at some point, you know what I mean, who's going to be turned out by, if you don't do your job, duty as a parent, of course, that's going to be turned out by all this stuff and listening and wanting to go out and try this different stuff from these guys that don't even live half of the stuff they talking about. Just is what it is. When they looking, when they hear about the Molly and the Percocet, that stuff is out there in the street. You know,
that's a great point. You talk about parenting and you talk about like just understanding the importance of parenting. And that's a great transition into the R. Kelly situation because we talk. It's only one.